Hello, Serge here from the Backyard Driving Range. Alright, we have a question today that came in from GB. And GB says, glasses and golf don't mix very well, and I am sure various types of eye surgery in many cases is preferable. I have worn bifocals for many years and found the normal type difficult because the join between the distance and a close-up part of the lens was right on the ball and gave a blurry image. That would be the lines. All right, and now we got the ones where you can't even see the lines, okay? And I've studied with optometrists and ophthalmologists over the years, and I'm going to talk about my very good friend, Dr. Lawrence Lambert, in a minute, who's a leading optometrist in sports optometry. And they all say that that you can't play with bifocals, at least the ones that I know and I've talked to, and that you can't, the worst ones, bifocals, trifocals, whatever, the worst ones are the ones with no lines. I keep forgetting what the name of those are. But fortunately, I don't have to wear bifocals to play golf. And that is correct. So this GB is going to give us a solution that he came up with, and I think it's very imperative here because so many people play with bifocals. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when I get done reading his sentence. He says, the join between the distances and close-up part of the lens was right on the ball and gave a blurry image because he didn't know whether he was above it or below it. His distance was above, and the reading, which is about 16 inches from, is based to have stuff 16 inches from you, is clear. So if you're looking at a golf ball, which is a heck of a lot more than 16 inches from you from the bottom, you're in trouble. It's going to be blurry. Thankfully, my optician listened to my tale of woe and lowered the join considerably so that I viewed the ball with the top distance section of the lens with perfect clarity. The lower, much smaller close-up section is fine to record scores, etc., with a slight upward tilt of my head because he put it way down. He very likely put it way down and closer to the nose so that your eyes would be looking over it. So he has to lift his head up to see way, way, way out the bottom. It's the only place you can see it. All right? Now, the problem that Dr. Lambert and I and some of my optometrists that I know, we're trying to educate all the optometrists to let them know that if one of their patients is a golfer and needs bifocals or trifocals, that they got to make an adjustment and so that they can see the ball. In most cases, they figure that because a golf ball is on the ground and not moving, that there's no problem. Once you look over the top and find it, you're going to be okay. All right? I'll test that in a minute as I walk through all these issues with it. All right, but it's not okay. If you were a baseball player or a tennis player, I guarantee you they would probably tell you need a regular pair of distance glasses to play that sport. Forget about the closeness. But again, because our ball, the golf ball, is not moving, sitting on the ground or a tee, they don't see it as a problem. But it's a big problem, and I'll address that problem once I get finished with this letter. This is also by JB what I call in your own words. He's describing a solution he found that he had and had made adjustments for it. And that's what I like. I keep telling you, I give you all the facts about the peak performance golf setup and swing, but at some point you got to try to there are parameters that you can stay within and do okay. We all have the same bodies, but we don't have all the same attributes, and some of us have some what I call liabilities, injuries and stuff, or physical issues that we have to deal with. And we got to maybe adjust the setup of the swing a little bit to maximize our abilities to hit the ball better. What's going to tell you? Trial and error. You make a few adjustments, and adjustment here, and you hit the ball, and you keep toying with it. And when you start hitting the ball really good, then that's what you need. And so it might not be perfectly what I said, but it fits you. All right. So that's the good thing about PPGS. It has some parameters here. So he says, the much smaller close-up section is fine to record scores, etc., with a slight upward tilt to the head. It is also helpful to select frames that sit fairly close to your face. This means I have a special pair reserved for golf. Hello, that's what I say. I got a pair of golf glasses. They're right here. They're right here in my bag. They never leave. They're always in my bag. All right? They're just for golf. I don't wear them. I wear them because these are the ones that fade in and out. I'm extremely sensitive to sunlight. Fortunately, I got these trees, these bushes, I guess, or small trees that over there have grown up enough that it's hiding the sun from me. But if the sun was in my face right now, I couldn't even keep my eyes open. I could barely read that, and I'm not wearing lenses. I'm not wearing contacts or anything else. I still see fairly well far, but these help me see even better far. And they they would tint out. Notice they're pretty big. They're down near the bottom of my cheeks. Today I see the fashion in glasses is all these little skinny little lenses and stuff. I see people trying to play with those. And to get in a good posture, those lenses, the little skinny glasses, the bottom of the frames are going to be in your way to see the ball when I explain to you about why you can't play with bifocals in a minute. All right? So here we got GB saying, have a special pair reserved for golf. They may give hope to other glass-wearing golfers. I appreciate very much your email lessons, GB. So he got his contacts taken care of, so they were not contacts. He got his bifocals fixed, or trifocal, but he said bifocals, so it's probably just bi. But we got many people with trifocals. Those are even worse than bifocals. And again, as Dr. Lambert says, if you got a line there, that's even the worse ones. But at least the line, the ones without lines are worse because you don't really have a set line up there where you can know above and below. You got to find it out. And again, no matter what, bifocals and trifocals are bad. And I like to comment about big glasses. They should be down. Your plain glasses should be down near your cheeks. So I'm going to start off and add to this story. About 15, 18 years ago, one of my best friend's students in Hilton Head, he had big, huge glasses like this, and he had them split right in the middle, and he had bifocals. And his name was Gary, and I was on him time and time again to get rid of his bifocals, and because he hit better golf balls. I had another student one time. He was a dentist in up north someplace, Michigan, Minnesota, or whatever, Wisconsin. Might have been Wisconsin. And he came to me. He would always come down to Harbor Town in the wintertime around Christmas and take 2 or 3 lessons with me for the week or two he was there. And I kept telling him, Doc, you got to get rid of your bifocals. You got to play golf. You can't do it. And so finally, after about 3 years, he showed up one day and he walked into my office when I was in there and he just sat down and he goes like this. I said, yeah, what's the big deal? He said, no bifocals. I said, oh, hallelujah, you finally listened to me. He said, yeah, but you always told me it would help my long game, but I tell you what, I think it's helped my short game even more. And I just looked at him and said, well, Doc, when I said help your game, I mean your whole game. And why would it help your short game even more? Because with shorter clubs and the ball's closer to you, you have to bend down more to see the ball. And what's the big problem that happens then? If you're bending over and you got to look over the top of those bifocals and you put your head down, guess what you've done? You've just taken all your neck and your shoulders out of dynamic balance, which is also going to affect the ability for you to lift your arms. And it's going to affect the ability of your arms and shoulders to move properly and swing and lift the club up in the backswing and up in the finish. You're out of dynamic balance. All good posture is when you stand here, you bend over and you must keep your head in line with your spine. All right, up here. That's not in line looking over the top. So getting back to Gary, one day he shows up again and he walks up to me and he goes like this and he's shaking his head like this and he's got a big smile on his face. I said, yeah, Gary, what's the big deal? I still see the line. I remember this is 18, 20 years ago, early 90s when I was at Harbor Town Golf Links. And I goes, what's the big deal, Gary? I still see the line. He said, yeah, but I went to my optometrist and I got him to switch them. My reading's at the top now and my long distance is at the bottom. So now I can stand here and look out the bottom like you want. When I do the scorecard, I just turn my head down and make my eyes go up to read the scorecard. And what do I say to a lot of people? Well, they say, well, I need my bifocals. I can't keep score. And I say to them, hey, do you want to keep a good score or would you rather shoot a good score? Heck, if you shoot low enough, you might not need the card. You can do it when you get done. So you understand here? It takes your head, your neck, your shoulders, and the ability to lift your arms out of dynamic balance. So it's going to affect your ability in the peak, especially in a peak performance golf swing. We're supposed to have lift and lift. All right. Now, once you've hit the ball, if you're starting to stand up, you probably had pretty good lift on this side, but it would inhibit the lift on the backswing. So going back to my good friend Dr. Lawrence Lambert, he wrote a book called The Pro's Edge. It's called Vision Training for Golf, and it also says improve your putting, long and short game. See, he's saying it's going to help everything. All right. Chapter 9. Which starts on page 101, is titled Glasses, Contacts, Bifocals, and Golf. And I'm going to go to this where I leave the marking here. Now this book usually always stays in my car. I got one upstairs in my office and I got one in my car because basically a lot of times unless I'm traveling long distance and flying, I'll have this book with me in my car, and if I have a problem I'll eventually go to the car and get it and read this to a golfer. On page 106, at the very bottom of the page, the title of the paragraph is called Bifocals with Golf. This is Dr. Lambert, Lawrence Lambert. He's a sports optometrist, okay? Lawrence D. Lambert, Lampert, Lampert, if you want to look him up. Bifocals with golf. I suggest to most golfers that they do not wear bifocals. The bifocal or progressive portion of the lens is set to focus at about 16 inches and blurs the ball at the address position. If the bifocal has a line, it also gets in the way and causes shifts in the head posture to look around it. Most players should get a pair of glasses without a bifocal for golf. But if you need them, have your eye care professional design one of two different things. Bifocals that are set so low in the frame that they don't interfere with your game. Bingo. That's what GB did. Normally they'll put them way down in the corners over here. Or you could do like Gary did and have them way up at the top. So you get the whole bottom inside, even into the corners if you want with your distance vision. You find out which one works for you. But I would suggest you make a pair that you're going to only use for golf. So in that case, I would say you just decide which one you like best. And make sure that it is a fairly big frame so that the frame always comes down there. You don't want those little glasses that are barely an inch from top to bottom. It's the new thing, man. I see everybody, men and women, are wearing these slick, sleek ones, narrow, thin ones, and whatever. That's no good for golf. You need them way down low. If you ever go back and look at old pictures of Tom Kite when he was on the tour wearing his big glasses, and you watch a lot of guys years ago, they had glasses where they were at least as big as these or bigger. Tom used to have these big rounded things, and he doesn't wear them anymore, so I'm sure he's wearing contacts, unless he had cataract surgery. When you want to see the scorecard or menu, later you lift them up or tilt your head way back to get into that area of the lens, as GB said. Or place a small bifocal in one lens only out of the way of your golf swing. If you need them to see the scorecard or menu, look to the side away from the game and read it. All right, so he gives you that option with only one. But I think I just gave you the third then with Gary's, where he put the reading at the top and the full bottom was for golf. I think if I needed, that's the way I would do it. But again, they're only for playing golf. All right. The best way is if you don't put any reading at all in there, let somebody else keep the score. Your good score that you'll be shooting better scores when you get rid of the bifocals that are in the way if they're at the bottom. Okay. So great in your own words. Great figuring it out. Thankfully, GB had an optometrist that listened and put his head to the grind and came up with an answer. All right. But the big message we want to get out to all optometrists and ophthalmologists is that you're best if you have no bifocal if you want to play golf. Because even though the ball's sitting on the ground and it isn't moving, but we want to make it move, if it isn't moving, it still means we have to keep our head in good posture. And if my head is way up here and I have my glasses on and I put these glasses on, where am I looking? Let me put my playing glasses on. I'm looking, even with these glasses, they're fairly good size. Even with these glasses, when I get my head into the proper posture, I'd say when I'm looking at the ground, the lens, the bottom of the frame is about 1.5 inches from the ball when I'm in really good posture up here. Naturally it gets a little bit closer as the clubs get shorter and I'm on top of the ball, but because I got a shorter club, I might have just a little bit more spine angle tilt, and basically it's there. And as I get farther away with a driver, keeping my head up, it gets the ball actually gets a little closer to the bottom. So you need to have a full one that comes down basically pretty close and touches on it and lays close to being on top of your cheekbones. Okay? Because that's when your head's in the proper spine angle tilt. Right here. All right? If you have to look down, your head goes down, you stretch all the muscles, you're out of dynamic balance. Okay? So, with that in mind, once you have your head in the right place, there you go. Your head's in the right place because you can see the ball correctly, and if your head's in the right place, you can make a good swing. And when you do all that, you end up with swings that hit the ball more solid, straight, and longer, and helps you shoot those lower scores. So that's it for the surge on no can play golf with bifocals. Absolutely, positively not. I've had tons of surge students show up at lessons and at golf schools. They say, I can fix it. And I read it. I had a daily a while back where a guy said, yeah, I could do it, but I got one little problem. He says, I can lift my head up and I can see it underneath my glasses, but the ball's fuzzy. And about 3 sentences later, he says in the question, but I'm hitting the ball inconsistent. I'm not hitting it solid. I'm hitting the ground. I'm hitting it thin. What am I doing wrong? Duh. If the ball's blurry, that means you haven't got focus. If you can't focus on the ball, how can you keep your body still and swing the club properly? So, again, I prove it time and time again in lessons and at golf schools when they say I can play without bifocals. And I guarantee you, especially at golf schools where we have playing lessons, by the time we get out on the course and play, every one of those guys who showed up with bifocals that thinks they can play golf with them are now hitting balls without it because they can see the ball better without any glasses at all. And they all promise me, I had them raise their hand and take the oath, I will get rid of my bifocals and get a non-bifocal set to just play golf and keep them in my golf bag. Because I can't tell you how many times guys have showed up at schools they had special glasses made and they forgot to bring them. Get a set made and leave it in your bag like I do. It never leaves that bag. Okay? Well, that's it for the search for today on No Can Play Golf with Bifocals and Trifocals. If you want to play better golf, you got to see the ball and you got to see it clearly on the ground so that you can maintain good focus, make good contact, hit fairways and greens, and shoot those lower scores. That's it for today, and I'll be talking with you all again soon.